valedictorian who is making history. And you think you're paying a lot for gas? Well, look at where it's worse. Nightly News begins now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. When the videotape you're about to see was first played in our newsroom this afternoon, it brought the place to a standstill. No one said a word, and in a moment you will see why. It's a reminder that even with our accelerated attention spans and all that's going on in our world, great suffering is going on around the clock in China. What we're going to show you is what happened in the first few seconds, the first few minutes of the quake. It is at times hard to watch, but it's also an enormous human tragedy unfolding on a global scale. This report comes to us from Bill Neely of our British broadcasting partner ITN.
This is what happens when the earth quakes and a city collapses. It's 20 seconds after the first huge tremor, but the ground is still shaking. Stay down, someone shouts. Nothing is clear except the terror of tens of thousands. Another violent tremor. Everyone cowers. The camera's microphone breaks, and then behind them, buildings collapse. In a theatre, children performing a play are trapped. A wall has fallen on them. Get over there, he says. People need help. They sprint out. Others stagger. Masonry has trapped two girls by the legs. All over Beichuan, people are running. It's now many minutes since the main earthquake, but there's still panic. My baby, she says. Where's my baby? From the rubble, a child is handed down beside a woman, barefoot and bruised. Scattered on the ground are Beichuans injured. Falling masonry hitting young and old alike. It is now around half an hour since the major earthquake. Here alone, in those minutes, 20,000 have been injured, but the dead were everywhere too. This is Shushan Primary, and inside the children are trapped. In an upper window, 3 boys, one holding his head, another yelling. There are more of us in here, he says, more kids over here. But the rescuers have a problem. All the exits are blocked and they have no ladder. They try to rip down the basketball tower. They scale the collapsed and dangerous roof instead. The first child is taken out and lowered down on ropes. My child is in there, he says. Distraught parents have begun arriving. The children inside are crying out for their mothers. But it is slow and painful work. This girl has lost a foot. They've been trapped for nearly an hour. Now Beichuan's playgrounds are full of children. I need 8 people, he says. Volunteer rescuers put up their hands. Many parents themselves. All around, the traumatized, the exhausted, the injured. This is the mayor begging people to be patient. This was Beichuan's best street. It's already now the street of the dead. And the shop owner has to order the living to share his food. It's almost 1 hour after the main quake. The pain here is distant to us, but searing for everyone here. A city ground to dust. A people crushed. For NBC News, this is Bill Neely in Beichuan.
In China today, the start of 3 days of official mourning for the victims, now more than 34,000 people. This morning, at the precise time the quake hit a week ago, silence, then interrupted only by the sound of sirens wailing and horns honking for 3 solid minutes. The images we are seeing coming out of China are raising new questions in this country, particularly on the U.S. West Coast. Are we prepared in case it happens here? We'll have more on that a bit later on in this broadcast. And we turn now to presidential politics in this country. Barack Obama is showing more signs that he's ready to declare victory in the Democratic primary race especially if staggering crowds mean anything, while John McCain is fending off criticism of the many lobbyists who've worked for his campaign and their connections. We have two reports tonight, beginning with NBC's Kelly O'Donnell.
Today, John McCain is being judged by the company he keeps. At least 5 campaign aides have resigned in 2 weeks in a staff house cleaning over lobbying, conflicts of interest, and past work for foreign governments, including the repressive regime in Myanmar.
We have a policy that we have established, and that policy is very clear.
Tonight, McCain challenged Senator Obama to match his policy barring lobbyists. McCain advisors claim their new requirements are the most stringent of any campaign in history, while critics claim McCain is most concerned about how this looks.
This is a real problem for a candidate who's made his career on fighting special interests.
Senator Obama stepped up his own criticism today, even though he has lobbyists helping him raise money and advising him on policy.
The fact is, John McCain's campaign is being run by Washington lobbyists and paid for with their money.
To set a new standard, McCain campaign manager Rick Davis, himself a former lobbyist, put out this memo requiring that by this evening, all staff identify issues and clients that could be embarrassing for the senator and the campaign. Another senior advisor, Charlie Black, has drawn the ire of critics and liberal groups like MoveOn.org for his past work on behalf of some foreign dictators.
Call John McCain and tell him to fire Charlie Black.
Today, Black spoke to reporters on McCain's plane and emphasized that he retired from lobbying in March.
No connection to the firm. I have no income. I'm a full-time volunteer.
Most of McCain's senior advisors are not getting paid. The campaign defends those who resign as honorable people in a race where the candidate is not the only one being judged. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, Chicago.
This is Lee Cowan with Barack Obama in Billings, Montana, where a crowd of 3,000 isn't all that bad unless you compare it to this. More than 70,000 people who paddled and pushed their way into a waterfront park in Portland Sunday.
This is the most spectacular setting for the most spectacular crowd.
An energy that later had the Illinois senator almost declaring victory.
But let's face it, nobody thought a 46-year-old black guy named Barack Obama was going to be the Democratic nominee.
That rubbed Hillary Clinton the wrong way, who insisted again today that this race is still far from over.
More people have voted for me than have voted for my opponent.
But Obama is already laying the ground rules for the general election, and rule number 1, lay off his family.
For the first time in my...
When asked on ABC's Good Morning America about this Republican ad, criticizing his wife for saying that this was the first time that she'd been proud of her country, he fired back.
It is just low class, but I also think these folks should lay off my wife.
He's hardly laying off John McCain, whom he criticized again today for not wanting to hold talks with Iran. But he surprised some by calling it a country that poses only a tiny threat compared to that of the former Soviet Union. McCain jumped on that immediately, calling it an example of Obama's inexperience and lack of foreign policy judgment.
Barack Obama will leave Montana to travel to Iowa tomorrow to finish what he started, to all but announce that given the delegate count, he has to be the man that they put up against John McCain in the fall. A victory in style, perhaps, if not yet substance. Lee Cowan, NBC News, Crow Agency, Montana.
Late today, the White House issued a strongly worded letter criticizing NBC News for, among other things, how we presented Richard Engel's interview with President Bush on this broadcast last night. As we pointed out on last night's broadcast, the entire interview with the president is available on our website, nightly.msnbc.com, and of course, our viewers are welcome to post their comments on our blog. A big scare, as you may know, in Boston this weekend, and today, a late update on the condition of Massachusetts Democratic Senator Ted Kennedy. He suffered a seizure early Saturday morning. He was helicoptered to Boston. He's been undergoing tests, no results yet, but he is said to be walking around and getting antsy to leave the hospital and return to work. President Bush spoke to Kennedy's wife today, telling her, quote, "Take care of my friend." In Texas, mothers and fathers from that polygamous sect that was raided last month by the state were back in court today fighting to get their children back. That report from NBC's Don Teague.
It's the first step in a process that could reunite parents from the YFZ ranch with more than 460 children. In San Angelo's courthouse today, 5 judges in 5 separate courtrooms held hearings on a family-by-family basis.
I think they're still trying to treat them as a group, and I think that one of the objectives today is to change that and start looking at these families as individual family units the way that should have been done all along.
In each case, state investigators presented the parents a list of requirements they must meet before regaining custody of their kids. Among them, undergoing psychiatric evaluations and counseling, attending parenting classes, following the recommendations of child care professionals, and providing a safe living environment for their children. But despite individual hearings, the state presented each family with the exact same list of requirements. Their lawyers say the plans are simply too generic.
But in this circumstance, it's completely impossible because it's not specific at all. It's completely vague.
Still, parents Richard and Joy, fighting to get their 6 young children back, say they'll do whatever the state asks.
I don't feel bad about doing these tasks, getting a psychological evaluation. No big deal. I think that they'll be amazed at what they're going to find in us as parents, that there's no problems.
State officials say they will add more specific requirements in weeks to come, but maintain the goal is to bring parents and children back together. Don Teague, NBC News, San Angelo, Texas.
Another story we've been reporting, Florida's dry spring season of wildfires got even worse today, with 88 separate fires burning all over the state now, and attention today turning to a huge fire in Everglades National Park that sent a wall of smoke blowing toward Miami. People across a big area of South Florida have been told to stay indoors, and a prison had to be evacuated because of the smoke conditions. 4 Philadelphia police officers have been fired, 4 others suspended or demoted after the beating of 3 men suspected of being involved in a drug-related shooting was caught on videotape. The fired officers were deemed to have used, quote, indiscriminate force and may yet face criminal charges. When we continue here this Monday night, it's a subject previously not discussed out in the open. Now it's of new medical importance to a whole lot of men. And later, a new era on campus at a great American institution.
Everything that goes into each of the 13 different varieties of Mrs. Dash, all those natural herbs and spices, is just as important as what doesn't. No salt, no MSG. Everything that goes into Mrs. Dash is there to make sure that what you get out is nothing short of delicious. Mrs. Dash, salt-free, flavorful. And try the 10-minute marinades from Mrs. Dash.
We had a health concern. Turned out to be nothing, but it got us doing more to protect our health, like taking silver.
Centrum Silver age-adjusted multivitamins have key antioxidants that help support natural cell repair.
Our health protection starts with Centrum Silver.
A bad day is when your blood sugar is 30 or 60 when you're ready to go run 5 miles.
The Contour meter from Bayer. No coding technology means no coding errors.
My meter is a running partner. Completing a marathon, now that's my simple win.
Well, when you come into Fidelity for guidance, you talk about your goals, review your investments, and then you get a strategy.
Right.
And you get account updates to help keep you on track. Or have it all managed for you with Fidelity Portfolio Advisory Service.
Yeah,
and all this comes with Fidelity's 60 years of money management experience. But I should let him talk. He's the one who works here.
Oh, I think you covered it.
Good.
No, really good job.
Investment guidance from Fidelity. Get started with a complimentary portfolio review.
A year of daily sun exposure is like a week at the beach without sunscreen. Now get UV protection in a new daily lotion from Aveeno. It locks moisture in while blocking UV rays out.
And that adds up to healthier skin every day.
New Aveeno Daily Lotion SPF 15.
Hi, Enterprise. I'm at the repair shop, and I need to rent a car.
At Enterprise, we'll arrange to pick you up free and get you on your way.
Nice day, Mom.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
A dream honeymoon, but the bride never came home. What really happened under the deep blue sea? All new Dateline tonight, 9:30, 8:30 Central on NBC.
A once taboo medical subject that we now see mentioned all over the place, even in ads on this broadcast and others, is in the news tonight, and it's something millions of men now have new reason to pay attention to. For the story, we're joined here tonight by our chief medical editor, Dr. Nancy Snyderman. Nancy, what's this all about?
It's an interesting one, Brian. It's in today's Journal of the American College of Cardiology, and it has to do with something that people don't talk about that often, erectile dysfunction as a predictor of heart disease. More than 18 million men in America are affected by ED, and most of us regard it still as a lifestyle issue. But today's study focuses on ED as an early warning sign for the millions of men who could be at risk for heart disease. This research looked at men with type 2 diabetes, and it finds there is a definite high-risk link. Diabetes alone is a risk factor for heart disease, but men who have type 2 diabetes and suffer from ED appear at increased risk for serious heart disease, heart attacks, even death. And in some cases, ED precedes the heart disease, Brian, by at least 3 years. So that's what's important tonight.
And what's the relationship between the factors here?
It's basically one vascular system. So if you take healthy blood vessels and then you roughen up the insides with high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high sugar levels, you damage the lining of the blood vessels. And that same process that hinders blood flow to the heart and also causes ED, that's what's the root of the consequences. So because it's the same process, it's exactly why men who do have ED need to see their doctors, not only for possible treatment of ED, but more important than ever, Brian, because this is a standalone risk factor for heart disease, which today is the #1 killer of men and women in this country.
All right, it is a big story. Nancy, thank you.
You're welcome, Brian.
When Nightly News continues here in just a moment, the lessons from China on the west coast of this country and the effort to be prepared.
Well, how y'all doing? Is that a rib there on your plate? Under the finest sauce I ever ate. I need one right now and don't make me wait. Mister, can you please spare a rib? There's just one sauce I want on my bed. Oh, mister, can you please spare a rib?
KC Masterpiece, the sauce that inspires.
Go to KCMasterpiece.com for a chance to meet Tim McGraw at an upcoming concert.
What you doing, Richard? Catching butterflies? Strawberries. I'm catching the smell of strawberries. The smell of strawberries?
Smucker's captures the goodness of fruit in every jar, even the flavorful aroma. With a name like Smucker's, it has to be good.
Like that's ever gonna happen. So make sure you're protected with Tena Serenity's complete line of bladder weakness products. Tena, real protection for real life. For a free sample, call 1-877-GET-TENA.
Steaming. It's never been used like this before.
When Healthy Choice challenged us to create the freshest tasting meals possible, we used an innovative way of steaming to create cafe steamers.
This unique steam cooker from Healthy Choice
Lets you lock in all the naturally fresh flavors by steaming it yourself. For juicy chicken, crisp vegetables, and firm pasta.
and you pour the sauce.
For restaurant-inspired recipes steamed fresh in your microwave, try Healthy Choice Cafe Steamers. It's all about the choices we make.
Try a bowl of Trail Mix Crunch cereal and start your day with the great taste of Trail Mix. It's sure to wake up the trailblazer in you. The trail starts here.
It's time to let nothing contain you. It's time to bring on the beauty. It's time to kickstart some creativity and let your true self bloom. Miracle Grow Moisture Control Potting Mix. It's grow time.
Tomorrow, he's not joining the circus. Watch Matt take on a 2,000-pound bull.
Breathe, breathe.
Dangerous Jobs, only on Today on NBC. Super Tuesday's back. All-day coverage of the Kentucky and Oregon primaries. Super Tuesday, tomorrow on MSNBC.
Trading Places, a special series. NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
We're back with NBC News In Depth. The stunning images of the earthquake in China that we saw at the top of tonight's broadcast are a reminder of the risk in this country, especially on the West Coast. One expert says Seattle's on the same type of fault line. A recent study puts the odds of a big earthquake in California over the next 30 years at 99%. And it all raises questions about readiness. Here is NBC's Chris Jansing.
When an earthquake hit Northridge, California in 1994, the devastation left 72 people dead, $12.5 billion in damage, and Tanya Goodman terrified.
Suddenly you have your house shaking and things were falling and everything was dark.
Now Tanya's having her 1910 home retrofitted, bolting down the foundation and reinforcing walls to withstand a quake.
Any house built prior to 1950 is going to need some type of retrofitting.
Local governments have been getting involved as well. The city of Pasadena just spent 2 years and $117 million making its city hall earthquake-proof. Even with all the retrofitting, though, experts estimate 10% of buildings in Southern California are at risk of being death traps in a major quake. A new study in Seattle concludes as many as 1,000 buildings in that city could fall down in a strong quake.
If we have a major earthquake, 2/3 of our fire stations would not survive.
That's at a time when emergency personnel would already be overwhelmed, thousands needing rescue, hospitals overflowing, no power or water, collapsed bridges and roads. Dr. Lucy Jones says the horrific losses in China should be a wake-up call.
If we look at what's happening in Sichuan, we can draw a lot of analogies. What happens to infrastructure? What happens to our economic system?
The U.S. Geological Survey shows the earthquake threat goes far beyond the West Coast, with cities from St. Louis to Charleston to Boston among those at high risk. Hurricane Katrina kicked disaster planning into high gear, and the U.S. has probably never been more prepared for an earthquake. But
a large magnitude earthquake, anything in excess of a 7.0, is going to cause widespread destruction no matter where it hits.
Leading experts to warn that the best defense is Tanya's approach. Prepare yourself for the big one. Chris Jansing, NBC News, Pasadena.
Now to the price of gasoline in this country. Today, oil set another record high, and now the average price for a gallon of regular gas is $3.79. Premium is now approaching $5 a gallon in some places. Recently, one of our viewers wrote in and asked us to report on gas prices in different countries around the world per gallon. And so we're doing so. We did some checking. The Russians pay $3.06 a gallon. The Brits pay $8.28 a gallon. The Netherlands has it tough. They pay $9.52 for a gallon of gas. But look at this. In Saudi Arabia, a gallon of regular gas is 45 cents. You've heard perhaps of Coles to Newcastle. When we come back from a break, a first on campus in more ways than one.
Imagine a place of healing, where the pain that comes along with how we live just goes away. And what if you could go there tonight and every night? Welcome to Tempur-Pedic. It's more than just a bed. It's therapy with the promise of a truly healing sleep. We invite you to learn more about our science and experience our soul. Welcome to Tempur-Pedic. Welcome to bed.
If you often feel trapped by diarrhea, there's a fast way out. Imodium 80 Easy Chews. They dissolve quickly, they work quickly. Open up your life. Fast-acting Imodium 80 Easy Chews.
Honey, how do I stop this itch?
Oh, is it dry skin, bug bites,
sunburn, allergy, grass itch, prickly heat, eczema, rash, poison ivy?
The only medicine you need is Lanacane. It stops itching on contact. Kills germs, too. Lanacane, the everyday, every itch fighter.
What's your equation for keeping healthy? I'm a chin-upping, baseball-playing, gotta-take-care-of-me, one-a-day man.
One-a-day men's, the only complete multivitamin with more selenium for prostate health.
It fits my equation better.
Are you the one keeping all these different pain relievers for different pains? Yes, I am. Oh, well, you know, nothing works better or on more pains than Advil. So, you don't need different pain relievers. I just need Advil. It's the every pain reliever.
If you have trouble sleeping, Lunesta can give you a great night, 7 to 8 restful hours of sleep. But did you know that a Lunesta night can help give you a great morning? A morning refreshed, recharged. You might even wake so rested, you'll find a way to make the day special.
Class, today we're gonna make some music.
Lunesta helps you fall asleep quickly, so take it right before bed. Be sure you have at least 8 hours to devote to sleep before becoming active. Until you know how you'll react to Lunesta, you should not drive or operate machinery. Do not take Lunesta with alcohol. Call your doctor right away if after taking Lunesta you walk, drive, eat, or engage in other activities while asleep. In rare cases, severe allergic reactions can occur. Most sleep medicines carry some risk of dependency. Side effects may include unpleasant taste, headache, drowsiness, and dizziness. Why wait another night? Ask your doctor how a Lunesta night's sleep can help you wake this refreshed. Lunesta, a great tomorrow starts.
New tonight on the Channel 4 News at 11 o'clock, the Charles Manson murders. Were there more victims? We may finally find out tomorrow, but we'll have the story for you coming up tonight, 11 o'clock. Also, maybe this could work for a lot of women, a new way to hide stretch marks before and after. Plus, would you do this? Dating in the dark, tonight at 11.
We close out the broadcast here tonight with a report from one of this nation's most prestigious and proud college campuses, Morehouse College in Atlanta. For more than a century, to be known as a Morehouse man traditionally meant three things. It meant you were intelligent, successful, and black. Yesterday, the Morehouse man at the top of this year's graduating class wrote a new chapter into the history of this school. Our report from NBC's Martin Savage.
From his first day at Morehouse College, Joshua Packwood stood out. Like many here, he's a great student, but unlike many, he's white. 96% of the student body is black.
You're gonna miss this place?
Oh, very much. Packwood says he came to Morehouse not only for an excellent education, but also to learn what other colleges couldn't teach him, what it's like to be a minority.
That's something that allows me to come and add value to any discussion or to any organization that I join or any policy that I decide to take up.
During recruiting, Morehouse just assumed Josh was African American.
And when it was realized?
Didn't change anything. Josh's record spoke for itself.
Did you ever have any student, anyone, come to you and say, because you're here as a white student, an African American student is not here?
Yes, but it was far more rare than people would expect.
If anyone could be resentful, it might be Shannon Joyner. Packwood edged Joyner out of the honor of valedictorian, becoming the first white to hold such a position in Morehouse's 141-year history.
Has Josh earned the right to be valedictorian?
Yes, he has.
Not just grade-wise?
Right.
Morehouse graduates the most African-American males from college in the nation. To be a Morehouse man is to join some pretty exclusive company. Samuel L. Jackson, Spike Lee, Edwin Moses, and from the class of '48, Martin Luther King Jr. So what would King say of his alma mater today?
Dr. King is known for, equal opportunity. He's known for wanting people to be judged by the content of their character.
Packwood says he doesn't want to be remembered as just the first white valedictorian.
As I look out now to my brothers, 500 strong,
he'd rather be known as something far more important, a Morehouse man. Martin Savage, NBC News, Atlanta.
That's our broadcast for this Monday night as we start a new week. Thank you for being with us. I'm Brian Williams. We hope you can join us again right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
Nightly News is a presentation of NBC News. More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
Next, Britney Spears and Ashley Simpson. Which one's pregnant? Plus, the Hoff down on one knee proposing to Simon Cowell's girlfriend. What happens when Simon breaks up the party?
Uncovering Manson. Tonight at 11.
I'm Marie Osmond, and I'm going red for you.
Did you know that heart disease is the #1 killer of women and is largely preventable? All it takes is a few minutes and a few clicks to know your risk. Take the Go Red Heart Checkup at goredforwomen.org.
Summer has always belonged to children. But now that the Summer of Audi event is here, kids will just have to learn to share. Take back summer with no payments at signing during the Summer of Audi event.
An olive, green.
with pimento.
Ooh, he's good. Nothing gets past him.
Piece of cake.
Kill bugs on contact without the bad smell. Raid Anti-Roach Killer is specially formulated with no lingering chemical odor.
What's that?
I don't smell nothing.